welcome to the Virtual Reality Interview Series. I'm Nikia Whitaker-Woody, event coordinator of the VA World Conference and VA World Encounter Celebrations. The Virtual Reality Interview Series is where we come together, we tell tales, but also we share our realities, the highs, the lows, and all the resilience it takes to keep going. So, without further ado, let's pave the way for this conversation. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikia Whitaker-Woody, and I have with me today Miss Julissa Edwards, and she is a licensed psychotherapist. I don't know what that is, so I'm interested to find out. She's
Yeah.
also a mindset coach, very good when we're being entrepreneurs, and
Yes.
spiritual healer who combines science and spirituality to help individuals achieve their full potential. With a background in psychology and higher education, Julissa draws upon her extensive knowledge and experience to guide clients on their individualized healing journey. Through coaching techniques and spiritual practices, she helps individuals overcome mindset challenges and gain a deeper understanding of their true selves. With a holistic approach that integrates mind, body, and soul, Julissa empowers clients to unlock their inner wisdom and live their desired and most authentic lives. And that is an awesome bio, girl.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So I
Yeah,
have questions. Can you
go
explain
for
what
it.
a psychotherapist is?
Absolutely. So it's just an umbrella term for a licensed mental health therapist. Within our field of therapists, there's like so many different types. It's just a overall, like I went to school, got my master's in mental health, and that was the beginning of my career, just doing traditional psychotherapy.
Okay, because I have a psychiatrist who prescribes some
So I'll
meds.
differentiate. So a psychiatrist is specifically for medicine. They
Mhm.
also can counsel, but they're a doctor. They went to
Yes,
school for medicine. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, she does my med management. We don't talk much. She
Yeah. Yeah.
does,
That's usually how it goes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So how did you transition into a mindset coach?
Yeah, so I think I was in the field for about 6 or 7 years before I transitioned, and I noticed I didn't know anything about coaching, to be frank. And I noticed that what I was doing in my sessions was leaning more towards coaching than therapy. I always kept it ethical, but I like to motivate, cheer people on. I used to be a cheerleader. I was heavy in sports, so I was captain of like a lot of my teams. So I've always had leadership qualities in that sense. And when I was introduced to coaching, I was like, huh, I could utilize all my trauma training that I have, of course, being a licensed psychotherapist, and just use it more in a very niche specific role, like a mindset coach. And I never looked back. For me, coaching allowed me to do programs that therapy did not. I mean, in therapy, you can do group therapy, but as with coaching platforms, you can have large cohorts. There's less rules when it comes to what I can say, how much I can share about myself, and I like talking, so I like to share. So for me, I was like, okay, great. I've gained my knowledge, I've gained my practice and experience. Let me do a little something similar, but a little bit different where I can be more myself. And so I've been in the coaching field since, and I've never looked back.
Cool. So how do you do it holistically? I'm interested in this because the other day I had the instance where my psychiatrist forgot to fill my meds. And so I literally was out of meds for a week
I
and
think I
my
saw you
mind
post
was
that.
everywhere. And
Yeah.
so I posted on social because I'm very transparent and basically everyone in my feed said to take shrooms and I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
only one
Mind
person
reading.
referred me to a doctor, but everyone else said shrooms.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, do I need to research some things? But I don't think I do because I do not want to play with my mind. But what is holistic for you?
Well, they might have meant lion's mane mushroom, which is non-psychedelic,
They
which
didn't. It was called something else.
oh,
It
well,
was
I
something
would
else.
Google this. Google, like it's been advertised a lot that mud water coffee. It's made with lion's mane. In fact, when we were on the blocks together, Wes also has a similar
Yes,
drink.
I bought that.
Okay, that has lion's mane mushroom in it.
Okay. Alexa, stop. Sorry.
It's
I
okay.
was
I
trying to
love the
encourage her.
realness. Yes. Listen, you might hear one of my toddlers stomping in here. I might just
Oh
tell.
yeah, my great niece and nephew will be here in a few minutes, and they will make themselves known. But yeah, that was interesting to me that everyone was going that way. But I know me personally on my journey, I know I need the meds. And
Okay,
I have
yeah.
no problem saying that, and everyone's
Yeah.
entitled to their own opinion, but I know what I need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't knock it either. Like I remember when I did more traditional psychotherapy, if somebody had the goal of lessening their meds, I'm like, I'm all for it. And also like you just have to respect where you're at in your life and your journey. And on my spiritual side, I believe that we come here with like destined purposes. And sometimes that means that this go around you get to wean off of your medication. And sometimes it just means that you don't, and that's okay.
Yes, yes.
You
This is
know?
my
So
daughter's this is my daughter's 10-year anniversary of being off meds. So that's
wow.
awesome for her, and I'm so proud of her because she advocated for herself and she was like, I don't want to do this no more. And she had help to get off them and help, if she needed to come back. And she's done awesome since. Whereas I know I need it. I don't have any problem with it. But I also advocate for myself in that I'm not taking anything extra. So I don't take my potassium pills. I manage it with my diet. And with my migraines and stuff, I try my best to do like a coffee or something like that, so that I'm not putting a whole lot into my body. And I mean, I just recently made my doctor change my meds because I'm like, I'm gaining too much weight and my focus isn't as well as it was on the other medicine, so I need to go back. So yeah, definitely all about being holistic, but I'm also a realist in what I need.
Yeah, I think you could try like the lion's mane mushroom, for example, alongside your medication and see if that helps.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, trying Wes's drink in the morning
Mhm.
after I take my Adderall and stuff. So it's been really good. It really hyper focuses me, I've noticed, which is good for
Yeah,
me. I like that.
yeah.
But I think for someone else, they'd be like, girl, you ain't looked up in like 2 hours.
I love it. I took it this morning, actually. It's funny that we're talking about it because I hadn't seen it in like 4 weeks. And I was like, I did buy this. I was like, let me just put this in my drink real quick. And it was great. I was,
Yeah, and it tasted okay. Everything
yeah.
don't be tasting all right, but that tasted okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
love it.
yeah. I got both the day and nighttime one, and there was some weeks prior where I was so like just crazy in life and in the business and things like that that I just was having trouble sleeping. And that did it for me.
That's good. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've had insomnia my whole life, and the med that I take for my bipolar, it literally knocks me out. I still only sleep 4 hours a night, but it literally knocks me out. So I'm like, I don't need nothing else to sleep. So
Yeah.
but how is it that you talked about your spirituality? How do you map your spirituality into that for other people?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'll say a little bit of a backstory. Prior to me becoming a mama, which was just short of almost 3 years ago, my son is almost 3 in May. Yes, I have babies, but prior to that, I was really like super masculine in my ways of learning, I would say. Very much by the book, very clinical, evidence-based, which is not a bad thing. It's just I was like fully on that side. And then when I became a mom, spiritual doors kind of opened for me. I had new experiences. I began to see things, hear things, via my angel guides, things of that sort. And it was all very new for me. And so I began exploring it, with my spiritual healers and mentors, I should say. And long story short, I've I realized that I was always super intuitive, highly empathetic, which hello, maybe that's why I became a therapist, but more so than just what I learned in the books.
Mhm.
I remember in like my early years of being a therapist, I was put into rooms with like highly qualified leaders and I would feel very insecure. I had just graduated, like they knew so many other these big words and terms, and I was just like, I just ask people, how they're doing, and we figure it out, and I make them feel better. And my answers for how I got clients from point A to point B, which was grand healing, was always very simplistic. And now that I'm older, I recognize that it was because I was intuitive
Mhm.
and I knew exactly what to ask, and I was able to help them feel comfortable, and I was able to have intuition to guide me in the sessions. And so, long story short, now that I'm a little bit more not proud per se, but comfortable with the gifts that I do have, and like really leaning into them. It's changed the game for coaching for us and our company where, um, standard time with a therapist. I've been told many, many times that like 1 hour with me is equivalent to 3 months time in therapy. It helps me get to the meat a lot faster, in a way that does not disrupt the nervous system. That's not my intention. You have to be the right kind of client for coaching, but if all things align, then we can collapse time. And I can use my clinical trained skills alongside with my gifts to really help us learn why we are the way we are, what we have to do to get out of that rut or cycle or behavioral patterns, and just keep it pushing so that we have a happier, healthier life.
Cool, that's interesting. Do you ever come across someone who is aligned as a coaching client, but not aligned in their religious beliefs?
Um, Not kind of. Luckily for me, social media is where I get most of my lead gen. And in social media, people are able to just fully know what my beliefs are and all of that. So I always say I respect all religion. I think for me, my definition of spirituality is a connection to self. And I believe that religions, that's what they aim to do, whether it's through scripture or whatever it is that you believe in. Like the whole goal is for you to know God and to know yourself better. Right. And so for me, it's like I don't really care respectfully what ideology you pertain
Right.
to. My goal is to get you closer to self, closer to God, whatever that is for you. Right. And so there has been times where in the past when I used to help entrepreneurs, I do now too, but there used to be a different program that I used to run. A couple of them felt a little bit uncomfortable and they were really in their Catholic faith. And it was a good learning lesson for me. That wasn't my intention to make them uncomfortable, but it was the wording that I was using. Um, and after digesting all of it, I also recognized that they also could have used a little bit more education on what I was saying because I wasn't combating anything from their religion. But I learned from it and it was like, yeah, this might rub people the wrong way. But I'm not selling you a religion. I just want to help you get closer to God, source, universe, however that may fit for you in your world.
That's interesting because I have been on the phone all day trying to get my Zoom account the way I need it for my event, as well as transfer my cell phone to a different carrier. And my friend, I have been working on it for like days. They keep frustrating me. And so, like today, I had my friend online with me so that she could hear it. And she was like, you know what? You're using too big of words. And I'm like, so I'm supposed to dumb myself down so they can get their job done. And so I understand like we have to learn to instinctively meet people where they are, and I
Yeah.
was having a definite resistance to that, so I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I loved learning about you. Loved learning about you.
Thank you.
um when it comes to the mindset, how do you help them make that shift from corporate or single mom to entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I love that question. So, over my years of coaching and therapy too, being a therapist taught me a lot. I've learned that we like to know what's familiar. The ego likes to stay the same, and so we're not really too fond of change usually, right? And even if we really want to do something, that's when you learn about self-sabotaging behaviors, whether it's minor or major. The ego is going to try to keep you the same, so it's going to do things that your body and mind and soul are used to doing, even if you wanted to change or not. Right. And so then it comes time to negative and a negative or hard and hard, which is like you didn't want to do the change. You gotta have to do the change. And your body is rejecting all forms of change, right? And the mind too. So with my mindset coaching, it's really it's based in healing, 1000%. It's based on getting to know yourself as a person. You have to study yourself like you being this huge computer that you are. You have outputted data your entire life. And it's like, a job as a therapist is to, check behavioral cues, learn, see patterns, genetics, like what has been in your family. And so with mindset coaching, I take all of that background that I've learned as being a therapist and I apply it in real time and just I feel like a little bit faster with my clientele because they're usually in a space where they have a decent amount of self-knowingness where it's like, yeah, I know that my family's on this and I've learned these patterns from X, reasons or whatever may have you. And then it's kind of showing them how it's still popping up in their subconscious mind without them even knowing it, right? So it's in everything. So I
Yeah.
help entrepreneurs in their business and going over mindset hurdlers and usually like leadership quality kind of stuff, but it's happening in your romantic relationships. You're avoiding the same things with your best friend or your colleague or your partner or your children, right? And I help people see that life is just a really big mirror, no matter what avenue you're going down. In my business, I focus primarily on entrepreneur CEOs and then mothers in the realm of leadership. And I think it's really beautiful when they're able to finally have that aha moment of like, holy crap, like I'm doing the same thing I've always done. I just didn't really see it here.
Yeah. I think with me, the mindset shift was hard because I am very confident in my intelligence and being able to do what I do. I am a award-winning administrative professional, but when I became a business
Okay.
owner, I literally could not speak. I mean, you can see old videos of me hyperventilating and losing my voice trying to
Wow.
get my message out, and I couldn't figure out what that was. And now that I'm more confident, I don't have those issues. So I don't know what it was, but it took a while for me to figure out like, okay, you have to be the face of your brand, and this means you have to learn to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a weird thing because I was like, okay, I go to work and I command it, and when I get here, it's like, oh no.
Have you figured out why? Like, is it because it was a new space and you had to do your own leading and it was just a
I
different.
think it was because of a combination of things. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. My mom is a Jehovah's Witness and my dad was Baptist. And so, with the Army brat situation, you're from here to here to here to here. You don't really make connections because it's time to move.
Yeah.
And then your focus was be nice to people, be good to people, give back, and be smart. Get it done, all that. And so that was what I always did. And so when it came time for me to like do something for myself because I was a single mom at 19. So when it came time for me to do something for myself and my kids had graduated, it's like I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm doing because I've always been in service of others.
Of other people. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's your answer. You were so good at being good at what you did when you had to follow somebody else's rules, and then you had the blessing and opportunity to make up your own rules, and the ego was like, well, what is this?
Mhm. Yes, that
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah, the ego was like, well, I don't know what to do here. I get to make my own rules. Like, that's new, you
Yes,
know?
definitely was new. Definitely was new. And
Yeah.
I've transitioned the ego into still giving back. So I still can do what I like doing anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think you're an introvert or extrovert?
I think I'm a little bit of both. I think that growing up, I was more of an introvert, really shy, wanted to keep to myself, didn't like any eyes on me. And then I think as I healed some things and grew older, I began to see that I was capable of leading, and being in crowded spaces, communities where I could shine. And so I like that too growing up. And so now it's just a matter of my energetic levels, if I need to be fueled or if I feel drained, depending on what I'll do. I'll say I like my alone time. I like my time to decompress, but I also thrive off of community.
Yes,
Um,
I saw that.
yeah. Yeah. What did you mean by that? You saw it on.
I saw that when we were at the intro. I
Oh,
mean, you were like a social butterfly, and I'm like, look at
oh.
her.
Thank you. You know, that's funny because the first couple of days I wasn't. The first, for me, everything reflects back to my healing journey. That's just like what I'm super passionate about. So in the beginning, it was a little overwhelming, right? All the people, all the cameras, all the things. And then by day 2 or 3, then I was the social butterfly because I had settled in kind of thing. And I was like, okay, let me meet more people, let me network and, do what I do best of just getting to know people. And yeah, it's funny that you say, so thank you for recognizing that. But the first couple of days, I was pretty silent.
Hmm. I wasn't, and that's unusual for me because usually I take my time and I'm really really quiet and in the corner and I don't say anything. But I just felt like this was the opportunity for me to shine and make the connections because it was never about winning for me at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I took the
Same.
opportunity. So I pushed past my comfort zone to make sure I took full advantage of everything.
Love that.
Okay. So I heard you say that you like to decompress. And
Yes.
as a mother of a 3-year-old, I don't know how you
And
do that. So how do you practice self-care? What does your downtime look like?
So I have two little ones. I have two under three. So I have a 2-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter.
Commend you.
Yeah, they're the light of my life. They are a handful, as I'm sure you know and remember. Yeah, so how do I decompress? The really simple overarching answer is to be present in anything that I'm doing.
Mm.
I think as a natural go, 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 busy bee, want to do it all person, it's so easy for me to trick myself into believing that I'm crushing all things by multitasking at all things at the same time, all the time.
Yes,
Um,
that is me. I
yeah,
accept that.
that's my brand, the healthy high performer, right? Because I get it. That's me. And I've had to learn, how to just chill the F out.
Mm,
Um, so my ways of decompressing are to be present, and the ways I love doing that is either journaling,
mhm,
being in nature. That is probably my top thing right now. Different seasons of life attract me to different things. So right now I'm really pulled by water,
mm,
long showers, like aromatherapy, being by a lake or going to the beach, like that's really peaceful for me. But then in my day to day, honestly, like if I can just be present, even with my children, like not think about work, not be on my phone answering an email while I'm with them, like just phone away, TV's off, just in nature with them, doing nothing and everything at the same time, because that's the most important thing that you can do with your kids, just be present. It really fills my cup, and I sometimes don't even recognize how much I need it until the hour or two is over, and it's like, wow, I haven't even looked at my phone, and I feel so much better now.
yeah, that's interesting. My children are 7 years apart, and
Man,
the other day I needed to decompress because I'm giving my daughter a 30th memorial birthday party. Because I love to celebrate my kids, and once they
yeah,
got to 7, they only got birthday parties on milestones because single mom, I can't afford a birthday every year.
very
And so
true.
this will be her last birthday party because she passed away 2 years ago. And I
Mhm.
was looking for a cake, and it just was so overwhelming for me to look for a cake. And I mean, it just hit me all of a sudden. And I'm like, why am I upset? I literally was crying and didn't know I was crying. And I'm like, I'm just looking for a cake. But it was like all the memories of all the parties and all the different pieces of her. And how do I finalize it? So I definitely understand the needing to compress, and I don't do it often, but I had to do it then, and it made me realize that I definitely need to do it more, and that I need to be more present for my other daughter who is now expecting her first child. So
Mhm.
I'm going to put that on my calendar. I live by the calendar. I'm going to
Yeah,
put that on my calendar to make sure that I give her space to be with me.
yeah. My deepest condolences for the loss of your daughter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With your vision of your business, what is your intention? What was it made for? Basis, what are you paid for?
That's a good question. What was it made for versus what am I being paid for? That's a great question. Um, so before I had a business, before I was a therapist, I just wanted to help people.
Mhm,
I knew that I had a really good way of helping people feel safe.
mhm,
Strangers, people on the streets would always come up to me and just tell me their life story, like still happens till this day. It's a gift, right? And so I knew that I was supposed to do something with that. I
mhm,
love your question of like, what is it intended for versus what do you get paid for? I still get paid to do the day to day of like seeing, clients, coaching clients. And it's not that I'm looking to get away from that, but I am, of course, looking to have greater impact.
mhm,
And so the way that I've done it has been by up leveling my clientele.
mhm,
When I was a traditional licensed psychotherapist, I was working at a standard private practice, and I've done everything under the sun for therapy. So I've worked at schools, um, alcohol abuse centers, like all of that. And all of that work is fantastic. You're in the field, you're directly working with the clients and patients, and they need that support, but you're kind of like front line.
mhm,
More managerial roles will allow you to have a greater impact because you're kind of managing more things. So in my coaching business, um, I am still doing that like 1 to 5 or 1 to 1 kind of modality. And so I've up leveled my clientele of like, okay, I can help one person here, or if I gather a group of leaders, I can influence everybody in their ecosystem.
Mhm.
So now, since becoming a mama, I'm super passionate about helping mothers. And for me, when I help a mother, I'm directly impacting her entire family, right?
Mhm.
So that's one leg of my business. And then the other leg is CEOs, type A leaders, and entrepreneurs who are leading large, communities. They have a lot of stress on their shoulders. They need balance in life. And so I help them live life a little bit more holistically, have more balance, be happier, have more energy, so that it directly impacts their beautiful ecosystem that they've already killed at, like creating and sculpting and all of that. So I'll say, long term, I know that I just want to help leaders.
Mhm.
I want to continue impacting leaders so that they can bring that message back to their communities. I don't know where it's headed. I just kind of go with the flow. And, I know I want to work smarter. I know I want to bring in some co-coaches soon and have them run some of my cohorts that are in a good flow right now and me manage them to have, again, larger impact. But where it goes from there, girl, my brain, like yours, like I can go everywhere. Like I have so many ideas, and what I've learned to kind of calm down this really giddy, excited, jumping all over the place person. There's nothing wrong with her. I love her. She gives me all of my ideas. Like she's why I've been so successful. But I've learned to put on the hat of CEO more in the terms of where could that idea fit in the next 90 days? If not, then we're tabling this discussion.
Mm. That's interesting because while we were at the blocks, I was like on fire. Like the brain was just doing it. As soon as we finished dinner and did the announcement of the winners, I was in my room implementing and writing notes and
Mm.
emailing my team. And when I got back, they were like, "Hold up,
This is a
why
lot.
you been gone? You did this, this, and this, and we ain't did this, which we was working on. Like you are 5 million steps ahead of us, and we need you to come back." So
Yeah,
like now I am brain dumping, and they get to it when they get to it, and they give me
yeah,
feedback, and then we timeline it because like my
yeah,
brain is like my conference is next Saturday. I already have next year's planned.
yeah. No,
So,
I hear you. Okay, so I struggle with the same thing. So what I do now that's been really helpful, it's not just for me, it's because I'm leading a team now and like they can't, their brain isn't like my brain. So like they can't,
mhm,
I have to speak their language.
yes.
And I also have to be an organized front because I'm the leader.
Mhm.
Right. And so what I do now is I still have my brain dumping. Like when I have thoughts about how I can better like literally I'm running the motherhood program right now. And I already have notes to myself emailed of like what I want to do for the next round that I can better. Right. And I just know that anyway, let me get back on track. So what I do is I write myself, I have my own little notes.
Mhm.
And then before my Monday meetings with my team, I organize where those thoughts belong. So I have a quarter 1, 2, 3, 4
Mhm.
sheet. I have goals for the quarter so that it doesn't overwhelm my team. And when I have a new idea, sporadic ideas, of course they can be implemented, but I have to look at what were the goals for this quarter? Does this align? And if it's completely off, then we're going to hold off on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All right.
understand that. My team is admonishing me to not be so quick. If I see something and I feel like it relates to the community, I want to share it. And they're like, there's so much information flowing, Nakia, that they really can't grasp it. So
Yeah.
now I'm having to um, schedule it or either put it to the side. So I have an inbox that has go back later, must read, all of that, so that I can put content that I am seeing because I'm on every newsletter and I have so many opportunities, but I can't like do this all the time. And so
Yeah.
I'm learning to not be so sherry because it's overwhelming for other people, whereas for me it's working fine. So I'm
Mhm.
taking that feedback and I'm going back and I'm revamping my volunteer program so that they understand the way my brain works for one. And they know the structure of how my things are set up so it's not constantly saying, "Where's this? Where's this? Where's this?" When I said all of it's here, like, well, what you asking for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Okay, so I had more questions, but our time is up. So, what is, as you're an experienced therapist and entrepreneur and healer, what would you say to someone who's about to embark on this entrepreneurial journey?
Some advice that I would give them. I would say that you have to be invested in the bigger vision and mission of whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Like I said prior, like I don't even know where the end goal of mine is going to be, and that's okay. I just know that with whatever I do, I want to positively impact people and make a greater help them heal in some way, shape, or form to better their community. So that's mine. I think that when you set goals to be an entrepreneur, everyone's reasons might be different. You might want the money, you might want the autonomy of flexibility, you whatever. Uh Pride, ego, and none of that is bad. It's you're human. You can want what you want and desire. Um, I think that when you seek out for one thing and it's not in a bigger platform of like how is this going to help many individuals, you're gonna come, you're gonna face doubt. You're
Mhm,
gonna face adversity. You're going to face failure.
mhm.
And if there's not a bigger reason as to why you're doing this, you're gonna stop. I mean, it's not, I think one of my biggest downfalls was believing that everybody could be an entrepreneur
Mhm.
in the beginning. I was like,
Yeah.
everybody should do this. It's great. I have my own, schedule, and all that was true alongside. I just wasn't seeing how good I was at defeating the hardships.
That was something that I said this weekend when I did my why video. I was like,
Mhm.
I saw where people were quitting, and my personality wasn't like that. So I wanted to be that support system for someone. And
Me
so
too.
it never dawned on me that they just wasn't
People aren't built like that. And it's not a less than or greater
right.
than,
No.
you know? But yeah, like I literally one of my first coaching programs was I used to help people launch online programs
Hmm.
to help them make extra side money and all the things. And it was great. What I learned was that everybody would do fantastic in the program.
Hmm.
And then once it stops, two or three would continue and the rest would kind of fall off. And I was like, like, why, how come only with me or a motivator? It's like, well, this wasn't really like aligned for them,
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
That
yeah.
is
So
very interesting.
yeah, that was a failure of mine that I had to learn through, right? And so, yeah, I would just say that what I teach my entrepreneurs in their hardships is that remember your bigger why. Like when I don't have the confidence to sell every day on my Instagram when we're launching and on my newsletters, like sometimes I still get in my head, I'm like, nobody wants this program. This is dumb. Like, the inner voice is still there, the critic is still there. And I have to remember that girl that you helped and look at her family and the way that they are now. Remember that entrepreneur who now her whole staff is happier because you helped them? Like, I have to remember the bigger picture here. And those small yet huge wins is what has to keep me going. Of like, I don't know what God has intended for me on this path. I just know that I have to keep saying yes.
Yes. Yeah, I run into the not getting fulfilled through other people because I'm wanting it more than they want it.
Mm,
And I'm so blessed. And I'm like, but I'm helping them and I don't understand. And my team is always like, they aren't where you are and they're not you. And no matter how much you want it for them, they literally have to want it for themselves. So that is a great message to end with. Great message to end
yeah.
with. So, our guest today, Miss Julissa Edwards, was awesome. I enjoyed having this conversation and I enjoy our connection.